Hello there, you're watching Left, Right and Centre on NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. Here are the two men whose picture we just put out of them reaching the CLP meeting earlier this evening in Bengaluru, who are the two contenders for the Chief Minister's post in Karnataka. Will it be Siddaramaiah again, or will the Congress pick party loyalist DK Shivakumar for the top job? The CLP meeting is over, with the MLAs saying that the High Command can take a call. The focus now, therefore, will be in Delhi. With the views of the MLAs having been taken into account, now it's the turn of the top brass. But the party has already decided the date for the swearing-in on the 18th of May, with a host of national opposition leaders to be invited. With a show of strength aimed at 2024 and with the swearing-in date already decided, does this reflect that the decision at the highest level is pretty much sealed? In the fight between equals, who will be better and a safer bet for the Congress? Who will the winner in the race to the Chief Minister's chair be? That's the big question at the moment. Let me quickly go across to our guests. Sugata Srinivas Raju, senior journalist, is here with us. Manisha Priyam will be joining us in a bit. She's a political analyst and researcher. Sanjal Shastri, political analyst, will also be joining us. Lavanya Balal Jain, national social media coordinator, Congress spokesperson. Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us here. And Veera Raghav, executive editor, BQ Prime. Veera, coming first to you itself, I want to understand from you that why is the Congress not even looking at the option of perhaps a rotational formula for a chief minister? Sometimes parties do rely on that formula, isn't it?
Because when you rotate, you don't know when the wheel's going to stop, whether somebody is going to step off that chair. I think once you give a chair to somebody, it's very difficult to get them off that chair, Maha. And that's perhaps why a rotational formula is not something that two contenders will accept for that easily at the moment. But yes, it could be something that could be worked out at this stage, as we've seen in the past as well. But I think the focus for the Congress will be to get to 2024. I think after that, what happens is a different story. But who is the best bet to get the party to 2024? And who is it who's going to deliver, as Sunil Prabhu pointed out a short while ago, on the election promises, keep the caste vote basis and the mass appeal of the party, given that it's got a historic victory up ahead till 2024. That's really going to be the focus when it comes down to who they choose as chief minister.
But certainly it's not going to be an easy task. Veera Raghav, I'm just being told that these pictures that are playing out on our television screens at the moment are of a face-off now that is being seen on the streets between the supporters of DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah. Let me bring in Saugata Srinivas Raju. Is this going to be a tough call for the Congress party? The MLAs have said, let the top brass decide. But how does the top brass decide when the supporters of both these factions are now on the streets again?
Thank you, Maha. I think this kind of friction was completely expected. And see, if I take you back a little into the campaign time, the kind of narrative that was set was this whole election was made to look like it was a conflict between the Lingayats and the Okaligas. And, so that was a dominant kind of narrative that was run. And we forget that combined, the two major communities put together, plus the Kurubas, that is the Siddaramaiah's community put together, would only add up to about 30% of the state's population. We don't seem to be discussing the 70%. So if you probably, the Congress has to expand its view and vision and look at outside the 30% also. So that's when, see, the Dalits have voted massively for the Congress. All the ST seats have been lost by the BJP. So, I think Congress has to have a more innovative solution, because DK is not going to give up easily. Siddaramaiah nurses the ambition, and he is also someone who's completely focused on the chair. So this is also becoming a kind of ugly battle. Until yesterday, it was made out to be, this is a huge ideological win for the Congress party. This was made to look like a very universal electorate coming together. And in fact, the Congress's victory is the most representational and the most inclusive, is something that I mentioned yesterday on, when analyzing the election results. So when that is the case, to just pivot the entire argument around just the two castes and behave as if nothing else exists is not going to do the Congress well. And this ugly show of strength.
I'll just interrupt you there. Lavanya Balal Jain is joining us. Let's get a response from her. Lavanya, how would you respond to that? Because the situation at the moment on the ground with supporters of both DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah not giving up on their choice, it's going to be difficult for the Congress top brass, isn't it?
Not at all. There are a lot of other factors other than just the supporters coming and chanting the names of two leaders while deciding who should be heading the state. It is about heading a state, and it is about being responsible for the state's development for the 5 years. So the resolution has been passed that the High Command will be taking a decision. So the concerns will be, I think, taken by the High Command in a couple of days.
All right, we seem to have lost our audio there with Lavanya. Let me go across to Manisha Priyam. Manisha Priyam, what do you think will be the primary factor that will be the deciding element here? Will the Congress top brass keep 2024 in mind? After all, the new Chief Minister will have to start delivering immediately within the next 6 months to maximize the electoral benefits for the Lok Sabha elections.
Not just the Lok Sabha elections. Remember, this has been an inclusive process in the old Mysuru region itself, from where the two important contenders for the Chief Minister's post seem to be claiming their stakes. It's been a two-horse race. Both DK Shivakumar have delivered and Siddaramaiah have delivered electorally in different sort of ways. So even if either one of them is chosen or both are accommodated, it's a different approach that the Congress party will have to take. It is not the one-man Siddaramaiah of the erstwhile government of 2013 to 2018. It will be a leadership that will have to be chosen with a view to the kind of mandate that the Congress party has got. Remember, almost 60% of the rural seats have been won by the Congress party. This is a vote that the Congress party has won in the name of class-based challenges faced by the poorest of the poor. It's included votes from the SC communities, irrespective of differences of left and right. So it's risen above caste, and it's a class-like categorization. So the decisions that will have to be taken in the next few days have to be taken swiftly, because the Congress party needs to be seen to be delivering on the promises that it said just before the elections, just some hours ago, 72 hours ago or so, saying that in our first cabinet meeting we will deliver. So that first cabinet meeting needs to be seen by the people of Karnataka. The decisions will have to be swift. The decisions will have to seem as if they are rising above individual ambitions.
Okay. Shehzad Poonawalla, if the numbers between the BJP and the Congress were close, then maybe this sort of a situation would have worked in the advantage perhaps of the BJP. But right now, is the BJP just looking at it from far away and just watching what's happening?
First of all, to all your viewers, particularly mothers who are watching, a very happy Mother's Day. And my mother has always told me, don't make promises you can't keep. Because in politics, political bigamy or political adultery leads to political breakup, like we see in Rajasthan. In fact, Maha, if I was the producer of your show, I would have asked, not Kerala, not Karnataka CM conundrum, but perhaps Karnataka Sachin pilot conundrum. Who will be the next Sachin pilot of Karnataka would perhaps been the line I would have used in your lower band. And having said that, on a more serious note, when you have a politically bigamous relationship where you make multiple promises, you forget about the promises you make to the people. Nobody's speaking about the 5 promises made to the people of Karnataka. They're busy in putting their posters and talking about their posts, not about the promises. But what happens is that the mandate for stability gets reduced to a mandate of instability. 2, you have leaders who are at each other's back, and therefore your entire focus of the government becomes trying to preserve power, not preserve the promises you keep. Example, Rajasthan, Kisan Karz Maafi not delivered. Example, Himachal, 300 free units of electricity not delivered. 1500 rupees to women not delivered. And therefore, what happens is that the state suffers. And as a Bharatiya Janata Party
Shehzad, I'll
leader,
just interrupt you there. That is only going to happen once the Chief Minister and the government, the cabinet is in place. Aren't we just jumping the gun here, because it's just been one day to their victory? They are still trying to get a Chief Minister in place. I'll come back to you. But
just one point.
Okay. Quickly.
Maha, all of this has the telltale signs of what we saw in Rajasthan, and I know you covered that intensively. Do you know even Mr. Kharge, when he came out and gave a public statement, said that after the CLP decides, we will discuss with High Command. please inform Mr. Kharge he is the High Command.
But how will
Who is this High Command
the
he wants
LOP
to
be
talk to?
decided, Shehzad? Won't the LOP also be decided consulting the top brass of the BJP?
No, the BJP is very clear. When the BJP's legislature party meets, they decide on the name. I am asking Mr. Kharge, he is the High Command, he is the INC president. Which High Command was he referring to in his bite to ANI and PTI when he said that this will be discussed with the High Command? That means Sonia Gandhi is the High Command, not
All
him.
right. Lavanya Balal, do you want to respond to that?
Shehzad has been talking about this in all the channels today, and he wants to know who the High Command is. High Command, like I've told him in the other channels also, is not made up of just one person. It is made up of multiple people. So when Mr. Kharge says he will discuss with the High Command, there has to be a consensus among the High Command also to decide who the CM is going to be. And Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla, I would like to remind you, the promises made to the people of Karnataka will be delivered once the cabinet session starts and once we have the budget session. The same thing is happening in Himachal Pradesh also. I would like to remind you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised all Indians 10 years ago to bring 15 lakhs into all of our accounts, and it has not been delivered yet. So please, sir, focus on the promises made by Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji, the Prime Minister who is perpetually on a campaign trail, then focusing on what Congress is yet to deliver. Let us first form our cabinet.
Lavanya,
and then
my dear friend
Let
Lavanya,
me go
I
across
would...
to our
the
panelists
promises.
who we haven't spoken to yet. Sanjal Shastri is still with us. Sanjal, we are getting some information. Sunil Prabhu is pointing out from Bengaluru that at present each MLA will start individually meeting the team of observers and they will ascertain the choice of the CM individually now. In that sense, who could then be a winner? Because if each MLA is consulted individually, we'll know the exact split of how many are backing whom.
It's going to be difficult to predict who each MLA is going to select, but overall I think this is going to be a very, very difficult choice either ways, because if you look at it objectively, both candidates, DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah, are deserving candidates. A lot of the Congress's victory, a lot of the credit to the Congress's victory has to go to Mr. DK Shivakumar, the way he's built up the party over the past few years. So he is a person, a man of the organization, and rightfully has staked his claim for the chief ministership. And likewise, if you look at Siddaramaiah, after SM Krishna, the only chief minister to complete a full 5-year term is actually Siddaramaiah between 2013 and 2018.
Right.
So both candidates are deserving candidates,
Okay.
so it's going to be a very difficult
Yes,
choice.
that
Now,
is
the
why
important thing for
we
the
put it
Congress
out
now
right in
is
the
to
beginning,
ensure
Sanjal Shastri, that this is a battle of the equals and therefore decision will be a very difficult one for the Congress party. Veera Raghav, how are these MLAs now going to be consulted one by one, and ultimately will the call be taken in Delhi?
Well, there are core loyalists of Siddaramaiah, as we've known. Several of them, some shifted from the JDS to the Congress, core loyalists, and these are people who back Siddaramaiah out. There will definitely be core loyalists through DK Shivakumar, and then there will be a large majority who are loyalists of the High Command. They will allow the decision to be taken by the High Command. So when they meet, when the observers meet each of the MLAs, they understand the mood of the MLAs. They'll obviously take what their numbers are. They'll have a rough idea of the numbers. But I think the scales will tilt in the favor of the one that the High Command wants. But the High Command can't take a decision categorical without taking the wishes of the large number of MLAs, because that would lead to factionalism, dissent within the party. So I think it will be a mutual decision. That's how the process will play out, Maha. It's a tricky exercise, and it's got to go with, it's got to be dealt with some deft management. And I think the Congress this time is really clear that it wants to have a situation where it doesn't lead to some kind of infighting and problems at the local level, and I think no one's going to relent very easily on this. So let's see it play out over the next 24 hours.
Manisha Priyam, can the Congress party possibly work backwards to see which person, if not given the chief minister's post, will cause the least amount of dent in the party?
See, at this point of time, it's not the victory of one individual, and I don't think they are looking at who's going to revolt and bolt from the stables. It's not a stitching up of coalitions with which the Congress party has won this election. It's been an election where they won the election because they've had to bury their differences and campaign together. There's been a larger agenda that's been put forward. It's not been the face of either of these claimants that's won them this election. It's been an agenda that's won them an election. It's been a campaign that's won them an election. And at this point of time, the Congress party will also look at scaling up the lessons of this mandate to other parts of the country. So I think these things will be very important. Mr. Kharge has come and made the demand for a caste-based census from Kolar. He's taken Mr. Rahul Gandhi along. So you can't be putting so many of the national assets of the party in your basket and then say that the decision is made because we got scared that one party is going to take their MLAs and get out of here. Yes, surely in an electioneering process in the Congress party, there have been very important local leaders.
Okay.
There have been very important faces that belong to Karnataka, but that's been the reason for their victory. Now, it will be a tricky decision process, but it will be a process where the differences will be buried before the name is announced, and these differences will be worked out by whatever is a larger frame which allowed each one of them to campaign together. Remember, the last 2 years they've been in it together, last 1 year definitely. So that's what the people will expect. Now, if the Congress party fails at this, then certainly it will be a spectacular failure even in the face of such a victory, which is, magnanimous in its proportions and something the Congress party has not experienced in a long while.
All right. I want to go across to Sogato, but I see that Shehzad has his hand up. So Shehzad, make your point and then I'll go across to him.
First of all, just to let you know that INC, I Need Chair, has 4 claimants to the post, not just 2. So there is also Mr. M.B. Patil and G. Parameshwar, one from the Lingayat and one from the Dalit community. And having said that, on a more serious note, look, taking Manisha's point forward, if this is about the agenda, their agenda was apparently allegedly corruption against us. There are 2 ongoing corruption cases against Mr. D.K. Shivakumar. And those have not been quashed by the courts. In fact, the courts have upheld them and have asked him to continue with the trial or continue the proceedings of law. So I just want to ask my friend from the Congress, while I congratulate her for the victory and for the decision of the CLP to hand it over to Sonia Gandhi ji, why doesn't she clarify to us that is Mr. D.K. Shivakumar, who has ongoing corruption cases, going to lead a 100% corruption government?
But Shehzad, the point, and I'll go across to Sogato Srinivas Raju on that, all the while, the point that has been made even when D.K. Shivakumar went to jail was that this is political witch hunt.
That's right. That was the argument that has been presented about all the cases that have been slapped against the Congress leaders. It could be the National Herald case or the cases against the Chidambaram family. All that has been seen as a political witch hunt. See, but that aside, there were harmony videos that were being released between Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar only the other day, just before polling took place. Both were made to sit next to each other. There was a lot of staging of harmony that was happening. That was the kind of signal that was being sent out. While nobody, at least I did not sort of believe that there is a kind of harmonious give and take between the 2 of them, and one would sort of step back. Both of them are people with, arsenal and strength, which they will not let go of the chair very easily. And both of them are equal claimants. Now the sad part,
I'll just interrupt you there. If Rahul Gandhi can get them on the stage together or get them on a Bharat Jodo Yatra together, Veera, I'll come to you. Sanjay Shastri, do you think then ultimately they can't get this right?
You see, yes, it's going to be a very high stakes. Yeah, it's going to be a very high stakes battle. The Congress so far has been able to keep its ship together, and that's one of the primary reasons why this election victory on this scale was possible. It's in the interest of the Congress that the High Command and the leadership is able to come together and come up with some sort of a compromise. Now, if you look at one of the biggest issues the voters in Karnataka had was under the BJP government, you had 2 chief ministers since 2019 when Mr. Yediyurappa took over, and in the previous administration between 2008 and 2013 you had as many as 3 chief ministers. So the issue of political stability and having a stable leadership was one of the biggest issues why the Congress has got a mandate that it has got.
Right.
So to have a leadership tussle at this point in this election is going to be very counterproductive for the Congress. So it's in their interest that the leadership is able to come together and bring all parties together and come up with some sort of a solution.
Okay, and we can continuously, Veera Raghav, on the shots that are playing out, sees the supporters of both sides now standing on the barricades as well, flashing the pictures of their respective leaders. Where do you see this going now, Veera Raghav? Do you think that this is just a show of strength by the MLAs, and once the High Command decides, all this will stop?
Well, these are all optics, but Sanjal was making a very important point. The Congress's entire campaign was resting on it was the only party that can give a stable government in Karnataka. You can't have chief ministers rotating because that leads to higher levels of corruption, according to observers. So you need to have a stable party. And I think it's important that the Congress sends out that message of stability, which is again why this rotation policy may not really work at this moment. But more importantly, Maha, and I think you can throw this to Sugata and Manisha as well, I think even Ramakrishna Hegde had a midterm election when he was re-elected. You don't have a chief minister since the 80s who's completed a 5-year term and returns as chief minister in Karnataka. If Siddaramaiah manages this job, it would be something of a feat there, A. And B, more importantly, remember the first round of the battle between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar was over the Kolar seat, a second seat for Siddaramaiah. While this entire campaign was orchestrated with optics of the two of them together, most people know that there was a huge resistance to give Siddaramaiah a second seat, though he had publicly declared that he wanted. So that reflects the deeper fissures within the Congress. And I think they will come out. It's not going to be an easy one, but I think given the majority that the Congress party has and the victory that the two of them together have technically achieved, it's important that they work this out together. That's why I was saying that what it needs is perhaps some deft handling at this moment by the High Command. Not just for the one who's chosen for the job, but the kind of compensation that's going to be given for the other.
Okay, so last 30 seconds left. I'll give that to the Congress spokesperson here. Lavanya, we understand that 18th of May has already been decided as the day for swearing in. So is there an indication that the decision has pretty much been made?
Irrespective of who the CM candidate is going to be, the swearing in will be on the 18th because we do not want to delay much more than that. We cannot delay that, it has to be done. So 18th will be the day the new CM will be sworn in Karnataka.
All right, so just a couple of days left to make that decision and then have a swearing-in ceremony, which will be a show of strength, as it appears to be from what Sunil Prabhu has pointed out, that leaders of all the opposition will be invited for that swearing-in ceremony. So a show of strength in the run-up to 2024. Many thanks to all our panelists for joining us here on this discussion tonight. With that, we're taking a very quick break. News and updates will continue. Stay with us.